All right, getting right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into what it takes to land a job as a materials engineer, and we've got some awesome insights from RoleCatcher to help us out.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about like insider tips, breaking down common interview questions, even how RoleCatcher's AI can like give you that extra edge to really make your application shine.
RoleCatcher really dives deep into what these engineers actually do, which
Yeah.
is honestly way more interesting than I thought initially. Like, forget just like knowing your basic metals and polymers. We're talking about like designing futuristic alloys for spacecraft,
Mm.
or developing those sustainable textiles that everyone's talking about.
Huge demand right now for those skills. Think like
Mm.
aerospace, automotive, electronics, healthcare, materials engineers are everywhere. But let's get to the good stuff, those interview questions. RoleCatcher actually gave us 10 key questions that come up all the time.
Okay, hit me. Let's hear them. First one, how about this? Can you explain your experience in developing new materials? Sound like they don't want just like a list of every project ever.
Definitely not. This is where you really showcase your problem-solving skills. Instead of just listing projects, tell a story. Like, what was a specific challenge you faced? How'd you tackle it? What were the outcomes?
Right, right. Details. Gotta have them.
Exactly.
Okay. Question two. This one's a little intense. Failure analysis.
It's a good one, though, because interviewers, they don't want to hear that you're perfect, everyone makes mistakes. They want to know you can learn from them. So RoleCatcher, they suggest having like a specific project in mind where, maybe a material failed. How did you analyze that? What techniques did you use? What was the root cause, and what did you learn from that?
Ooh, I like it. Turning those failures into learning moments.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next up, they want to know how you stay updated in the field. Makes sense. It's constantly changing, new stuff all the time, right?
Fast-moving field for sure. This is where you get to talk about, conferences you've attended, journals you read, online communities, anything that shows you're not just keeping up, but you're actually ahead of the curve.
Love it. Staying sharp. Okay. Question four. How do you decide which material is the right one for a specific application?
This is more than just knowing, the properties of each material. It's about the demands of that specific application, like cost, durability, what's the environmental impact going to be. Have a project in mind where you had to make that decision. What factors did you consider? What trade-offs did you have to navigate? That sort of thing.
Like being a material matchmaker, you got to find the perfect fit for each situation.
I like that.
All right, question five seems kind of broad. How do you approach problem solving in your work?
It is broad, and that's intentional. Interviewers want to understand how you think. Do you have like a structured framework, or are you more intuitive? Whatever it is, just articulate that clearly. Give a real life example.
I'm guessing this is where RoleCatcher's AI could really come in handy, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Imagine this. You're prepping for an interview, right? And the company, they specialize in biomaterials. You plug that job description into RoleCatcher, and their AI analyzes it, figures out what skills they're looking for, and helps you tailor those answers to like really hit those key points.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And it's not just what you say, but how you say it. They can even analyze your video responses, give you feedback on your pacing, your body language, that kind of thing.
Okay, that's next level. I love it. So question six, can you explain your experience with materials characterization techniques? Now, in layman's terms, what does that even mean? It does sound kind of, I don't know, intimidating.
It's really not that bad once you break it down. So like imagine you've got this brand new material,
Right.
right? And you need to figure out like everything about it.
Yeah.
Its properties, structure, how it behaves under different conditions. Well, that's where material characterization techniques come in.
So it's like being a material detective. You're using all those fancy tools to like unlock the secrets of this new material.
That's a great way to put it. Think like microscopy, spectroscopy, X-ray diffraction, all that good stuff. Be prepared to talk about the techniques you're most familiar with, especially like how you've used them in real-world situations. And, sometimes interviewers, they'll throw you a curveball like, tell me about a time you had to choose one specific characterization technique over another. What were your reasons?
Ooh, good to know. All right, taking notes here. Question number 7 coming at you. This one's all about materials processing. Now we're talking.
This is where you get to show off your knowledge of how materials are actually made. We're talking about things like casting, molding, forging, even those really cool like cutting edge techniques like thin film deposition. But, and this is important, always try to connect your experience back to that specific job you're interviewing for. Like let's say you're going for a role in aerospace. You definitely want to highlight your experience with composites manufacturing.
Right, you got to tailor that experience, make it relevant.
Exactly.
Love it, love it. Okay, so question 8, this one's interesting. Can you discuss your experience with materials modeling and simulation? I got to be honest, I'm more of a hands-on learner myself, but it seems like this is a huge deal in material science now.
It is. It's becoming more and more important. See, modeling and simulation, they allow engineers to basically test different materials and designs virtually before they even set foot in a lab. Saves a ton of time and money. So if you've got experience with any simulation software like finite element analysis or computational fluid dynamics, definitely highlight that.
It's like having the virtual laboratory at your fingertips.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so question number 9. This one's all about materials standards and testing protocols. Why are those so important?
Safety and reliability, that's the name of the game. Imagine you're building a bridge, a skyscraper, even a spacecraft. You got to be absolutely sure that the materials you're using are up to par. So that's where those standards come in, and they basically set the bar for material properties, manufacturing processes, testing methods, all that.
So it's all about making sure everything is high quality and safe across the board.
Exactly. But it's not enough to just know that these standards exist. You have to understand how to actually use them, how to interpret the test results, and how to make sure everything's compliant. It shows that you're not just a brilliant scientist, but also a responsible engineer.
Music to any hiring manager's ears, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, question number 10. This one's interesting because it's not so much about technical skills. It's more about, you. The dreaded salary expectations question. Any advice from RoleCatcher on how to handle this one?
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one. You don't want to undervalue yourself, but you also don't want to scare them off with a number that's way too high. Research is key here, and RoleCatcher, they've actually got this cool feature on their platform where you can see salary ranges for similar roles in your area.
Oh, wow, that is super helpful.
Right, and it's not just some general range either. They factor in your experience, your education, even the company's size and industry.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Knowledge is power when it comes to salary negotiation,
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the nitty-gritty of interview prep, but let's zoom out a little bit. RoleCatcher's career guide. It also talks about the bigger picture, career progression. What can someone expect down the line if they get into this field?
It's really cool. They give you a good sense of where you can go, what you can do.
Yeah, roadmap for success. I love it.
Exactly. So you might start out, as an entry-level engineer working on specific projects under the guidance of more senior engineers, that kind of thing.
Right, learning the ropes.
Yeah, but as you gain experience, you can start to specialize in a certain area. Maybe it's polymers, ceramics, even nanomaterials, the really cool stuff.
So many options. Choosing your own adventure, but with your career.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. And as you gain experience, you get more responsibility. Maybe you're leading your own research projects, managing a team of engineers, even consulting for different companies.
So the sky's the limit, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a really exciting field to be in right now.
Okay, that's super inspiring. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what about those just starting out, maybe they don't have a ton of experience yet? What does RoleCatcher recommend for them? How can they stand out?
Well, first and foremost, hands-on experience is key. Internships, co-ops, even volunteer work in a research lab, that kind of thing.
Right, got to get your hands dirty, or I guess in this case, wear some cool lab gloves.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking, going to industry events, joining those professional organizations, connecting with people on LinkedIn. You never know what doors might open.
Networking, so important. This has been an awesome deep dive.
Yeah.
So much good info from RoleCatcher.
It really has. We've covered a ton of ground here.
Oh, and before I forget, we talked about their AI for interview prep.
Yeah.
But they also have that cool tool for building your CV and resume, right?
They do. I'm glad you brought that up because, you could have the best skills, the most amazing experience, but if your resume isn't doing you justice, it might not even get seen.
So true. It's all about first impressions.
Exactly. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in. It helps you showcase those accomplishments, tailor your resume to each specific job, using the right language, the stuff that hiring managers love.
It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
Exactly that.
Love it. Well, this deep dive has been awesome. We've learned so much about what it takes to become a materials engineer, tackled those interview questions, even looked at the future of the field.
A lot to be excited about in this field, that's for sure.
It really is. And who knows, maybe you, listening right now, will be the one designing those groundbreaking materials, shaping the future. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and good luck out there.
Best of luck.